Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
Your co-host, Dr. Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
Yes, it is, my brother. Always is.
We have some wonderful sponsors.
Yes, we do. We have Lee Cossack Crawley, who's been with us for a couple of years now, doing a great job. If you need any help, just give Nathaniel Lee a call and he'll get you in the right direction. Fervent Care Christian Academy, great place to start your children off at. Not only that, but Marion County Public Health Department, hoping that you will be conscious of the fact of what's going on in our city and make sure you listen to what they have to tell us about the corona situation going on. Then we have Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes. If you need to get ready for Sunday morning, go by and see Brother Al. He'll take care of you.
And Easter's coming up.
Easter's coming up, and tell him I sent you and that you want 2 for 1.
2 for 1.
All right.
And also, speaking of the Easter and the resurrection season coming up, we thank you all for watching the show.
Yes, we do.
And supporting us. We also want you to support WHMB TV 40 on YouTube.
Right.
You can watch this show when it's over, as well as others that you might have missed.
Mm-hmm. And you can also like us on Facebook. We're there, and you can be a part of us as well.
We have a wonderful guest coming up. We want to make sure that you're with us. Maria Lusa Tishner of the Indiana Latino Expo is going to be joining us here in just a few moments. So stay with us. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices, and we're joined by our guest, our wonderful guest, Maria Luisa Tishner.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Happy to have you, Ms. Tishner. Indiana Latino Expo, what year will this be?
This will be the 9th year. We started 8 years ago.
8 years ago,
Yes.
the 9th year.
9 years, yeah.
How long have you been working with it?
4 years ago. This will be my 5th.
And what is your role in it?
Right now, I am the president of the board of the Indiana
you are the
Latino
president
Expo.
of the Total Expo.
Yes.
Oh, so you're busy.
Well, we have executive director. The executive director, Gloria Jimenez. She's on her way to South America, Peru, but she is the one. She's the one going here and there, getting the sponsors. And I am the president of the board, but we have volunteers. We have right now 15 people in the board, representing many different organizations. And
what are the numbers at the expo? How many?
We started the first year. The first year was big, like 10,000 people.
Wow.
But then it went down, then went up, and now we are like 7,000 people. So
yearly now.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
And tell us about your mission.
Okay, so the mission is of the Indiana Latino Expo, because the Latinos are underrepresented community. So we're trying to bring the business, the education, and sales. Bring the culture and help the organization and the community.
That's great. That's great.
And
So
go ahead.
You're going to have a health fair, job fair. You're going to deal with college students. You're going to talk about education. What is the talent like at an expo?
Well, there is a guy that is in charge of the talent. People who want to sing, people who want to dance, group that they dance, and we have judges, and they come and they dance, and then we give them the award that day.
Okay.
So it's actually the Indiana Latino Expo, we have 4 big events. It's the Breakfast with the Mayor, which is August the 19th. We invite the mayor of Indianapolis and mayors around the state.
Okay.
The different mayors come from Carmel, or they come from South Bend. And we wanted to know how they are dealing or how they are working or helping the Latino community in their area.
Like a small conference.
Right. So we have like 600 people coming to the breakfast. The breakfast with the mayor is at the Willows,
Okay.
and close to Pro Repo.
Yes.
And we have almost 600 people, is from 7:30 to 9, 7:30 in the morning to 9. And then the next month in September the 1st, we have the golfing outing.
Okay.
It's on a golfing place on 56th Street.
Yeah.
And
The Saddlebrook.
Yes.
The golf course.
Yes. So the profit from that event, from the golfing outing, we helped Indiana youth, undocumented youth in Indiana.
Okay.
And also another goes to the IPL Foundation.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a day that they come and they golf, and if the weather help, people will have fun.
What day is that expo? Give us that
The
date.
expo is October the 10th. It's a Saturday.
Okay.
But also on the day before is the educational fair.
Okay.
We have Purdue, we have U, we have Marion College, Ivy Tech. So all those universities and colleges, they come and we bring students to do the fair. And also, we're going to have job fair for college students.
Okay.
We're going to have the health insurance. The health, we have community, San Vincent, Eskenazi. I mean, you name it. Everybody come. There is a free screen, free flu shots, and people can benefit from that. And also, another thing that we provide is the service with the counselor. The service with the counselor, if you are American, you don't have an idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
The service with the counselor is, for example, right now we have 4 counselors that they send us a letter and agree that they're going to come. But it's Ecuador, Uruguay, Guatemala, and El Salvador. We send the letters. Actually, the Mexican counselor is part of our board, and he sent the invitation to all the counselors in Chicago.
Okay.
The thing is, if for example, in my case, I am American citizen, but before I become American citizen, I am from South America, from Peru. You notice that I have my accent,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay.
It's very, very good and thick.
So I'm from South America, and you need to keep your paper straight, right, on time, because if you want to fly to Peru, you need your passport be
In order.
in order, right?
Yes.
So you go to Chicago and you say, look, this is my passport, you need to change it. They give me a new one, or let's say then I have a house in Peru, and I want to give the power to my sister to sell the house. I go to Peru, they give me the paper, because the embassy from Peru is the representative of my country here.
Yeah, okay.
So we talk to all these counselors, and for the expo, they come and they help all the foreign people that they're here, and they cannot go to Chicago and spend a day, right? Guatemala, El Salvador, so they come and they help. That's another service that we provide.
Oh, it sounds like a great service.
It is.
To be able to register and to be able to make sure your registration is still there.
Yeah, because for the undocumented, if you at least you have the document of your country, right? But if you don't have even that, you are in a problem.
You're in trouble.
And you are in trouble. So for us, it's a very good service, because a lot of the people, they cannot travel to Chicago, right?
Right.
And they are afraid that they get lost, or they don't have the permission from work to go to spend one day in Chicago, and then they got lost. They had to pay this and that.
Right.
So when we bring the counselor, we help them. If they come the day before, the Indiana Latino Expo pay for the hotel for them to come.
That's great.
Right.
Ms. Tishner, that's great. And so it's going to be at the Indiana State Fair.
Indiana State Fair.
October the 10th.
From 8 to 6.
From 8 to 6.
Yeah, and
Blue Ribbon
Pavilion. Right,
Okay.
exactly. It's going to be there.
What has the attendance been like in the past?
Like I said, we were going down and up. So last year was like 7,000
We're
people.
going to pray you have more than that this year.
Yeah, and after the expo, at the end, on December the 5th, at the JW Marriott, we have another event. Then is the Latino Award Gala, and it's torched to people who did something good for the community, for the Latino community.
You're doing a great job yourself.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I want to commend you all. I went to one of the breakfast events. And,
for the mayor.
Yeah, and they had the Latino agenda.
Yes.
And I thought that was really impressive. It was really nicely put together.
It was last year.
Yeah.
With
and the year before that too.
yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank
Keep
you
up the good
very
work.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we're trying to bring the culture and bring the the diversity and inclusion to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
And thank you all for joining us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you,
It
as,
is,
as
man.
we say at the beginning.
Yeah.
And every now and then we have an opportunity to kind of just talk.
Yeah, kind of talk. We want to make sure we can start doing that this year. We have guests, have great guests, but most of the time we need to just sometimes talk to one another about what we see in the city of Indianapolis and in the church life of Indianapolis. One thing that I'm watching very carefully is because the quality of living in Indianapolis, based on what council does for Indianapolis. And there's a party that has the majority now. And I'm wondering, do you think that that particular majority will respond to the needs of poverty and unemployment and economic development in the city of Indianapolis? What do you feel about that?
Not entirely. I don't think entirely. I think, I'm not going to say that the majority does not care, but I don't think the majority is genuine in their effort to make sizable changes. And we've said it before on this show, Dr. Moore, the Thrive Indiana plan, which I think all black leaders and leaders in general should be looking at that. The condition of the minority community, particularly with black folks, is not where it needs to be. And we do have a majority. There is a majority on the council, I should say, that's Democrat. The mayor is a Democrat. The president of the council is a Democrat. And it's said that the mayor proposes and the council disposes. So you have 25 people, and you would think that all the different things that the black community and the community at large, wherever there's poverty, that they are facing would be priority one, and you would see measurable changes every month and every year going forward.
Yeah, I would. They have 4 years to do it, don't you think?
They got 4 years to do it. According to the Indianapolis Star, 8.
Okay, they think they'll be there for another 4 years after this one.
Yeah, well, Indianapolis Star did an extensive article stating that they believe Councilman or President Bob Osley will be the next mayor, and that the current mayor is grooming him for that position. I think they were precipitous in putting that out there like that, but nonetheless, that's what they're saying. So then it will be 8 years.
Okay, all right. Well, it'll be something to see. I think that I think most people contend that when you have the majority, that rarely does the majority do for their constituents. That's history, according to the community that I'm from. And let's hope that they will be able to change some of that. There was a proposal I heard of where CICF was going to reduce some of the grants that they dispense in the community. They're going to reduce it probably between 20 to 15 recipients. They probably have a list over 50 now. And for instance, what I hear, I don't know how true it is, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. So if one group is getting $30,000 and one group is getting $50,000, this group doesn't appear to be as important as this group. So they might be able to get those resources to make their particular group, who's getting the most money at this particular time, more effective in what they do. Have you heard that?
Well, as my understanding, in one of the committee meetings with the council, Chairman Leroy Robinson chairs the Public Safety Committee and the Criminal Justice Reform Committee, that the proposal is set forth to go before the full council. I don't know if by this taping it's already done or not, but to reduce the number of grants that are going to be given to grassroots organizations. Now, the problem with that is if you go back to the Ballard administration, when the city council took the administrative control of the crime prevention dollars away from the Ballard administration, and those dollars were being doled out to groups that were not the same ones during the time he was in. If folks would go back and look at those crime numbers, almost immediately we started seeing an uptick in criminal activity. So all these years later, Dr. Moore, they're going to start meddling with the crime prevention money again, and not taking it away from CICF. They've done a decent job with it, I suppose, but there are going to be other groups who are not going to get the money, and they're going to give it to what they call non-traditional groups that they believe can go out there and get the jobs done.
Well, I think that I think that's kind of sad. There are groups that have great intention of doing the best that they can with what little resources they already get, and then you're going to come up with a proposal that's going to take those resources away from them. That's kind of devastating to me, but a lot of people might not look at it that way. I think that we need all hands on deck that can provide a safe haven in our communities that will do this job. Now, I will say that there are some who are recipients that are not effective with what they receive for whatever reason. But I think that to take it from others and to double up on other people is kind of
If they double up.
If they double up, which
I
think they will.
There could be a more insidious plan.
Right.
And that is to do what in 2007 counselors were hoping would not be done.
Right.
You know, that money is generated from county option income tax.
Right, it is.
And by law, mayors can repurpose that money.
Yeah.
So if there's money left over, then you can redirect it, and legally you can put it somewhere else.
Right.
So, you know, I think there just needs to be more oversight.
I think there needs to be more oversight. And then there's a conflict of interest there as far as I'm concerned. And that conflict of interest is you have a Leroy Robinson who's on the public safety, chairman of public safety, is the chairman of the board of CICF. That doesn't make sense to me.
That gets tricky.
It gets tricky, it gets tricky. And
because it's supposed to be a fair process.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a press process. That doesn't sound good at all to me. But who am I? I'm just a preacher in the community.
But that's important. That's an important statement, because I think we need more people like yourself and others who are in leadership positions. I think there's a difference in being an administrator of the people's business and being a leader of the people's business. And I think oftentimes we have too many administrators and
not enough leaders.
Not enough leaders.
Yeah.
Because if you had leaders, you wouldn't have the community in the condition that it's in.
Well, I think, and the reason why we have some things like this transpiring is we have people carrying other people's water. You know, I got a bucket, but I'm not going to carry your water. You know, I got to carry my own water. And sometimes when you carry other people's water, you can get in trouble. And I think that's what we see happening in a lot of areas in local politics, that people are not carrying their own water, they're carrying water for somebody else.
And that's a good point there. And you know, Dr. Moore, at the end of the day, I do believe that each one of us, we are responsible.
Yeah, my point exactly.
For making things better for ourselves.
Right.
And the kind of government that we should have, not the ruler's government, but the people's government, where you start with the individual, then the family, then you kind of move out, and the government is not as involved. But in the situation that we are in Indianapolis, and quite frankly across America with regard to the black community, there needs to be an injection of resources. There needs to be a lot of energy spent on helping to reestablish, restore, revitalize the individual and the family if we want to see significant change.
And I think one of our guests stated that local politics are going around over and around and over and around and under local communities, and so these local communities now are suffering. Our concern right now is the 15, 16-mile radius development.
There's a lot of gentrification taking place.
Yeah, a lot of gentrification. Now, you need to be conscious of the fact now, gentrification is not about removing a slum. It's about removing Afro-Americans, and so that economic development can take place. And that's what's happening right now. Even in the Riverside area, it's going on.
Right around where I used to worship when I was a kid, 1500 Columbia.
In the Hallville area.
In that area right there.
All that is going on in massive. There are a lot of people who are being fined and out of their properties. They get a fine for $1,500. Next fine is $2,500, et cetera. And they can't afford to pay those fines and keep those houses up. And so they lose those houses. And now houses in the Riverside area are going to be going from $100,000 to $300,000 because they have a massive economic development program going on that is going to change the whole dynamics of that to help meet the ideology of 16 Tech and the rest of the downtown area. So we see what's happening, but we need to be conscious of the fact that we need people to be balanced, politically balanced, and making sure that nobody's against economic development, but make sure you take care of people that you're going to affect as it relates to the economics that you try to put in those areas.
You know, we talked about, and we've talked about pastoral oversight, and it used to be in the days of Glenn Howard and some of those folks politicians who came up through the ranks.
Right.
When you had the Baptist Minister Alliance
Yeah.
and you had the Concerned Clergy and some of those other groups were all out on the forefront of making sure that you would have minority judges and people in power on the council. And now we see that.
Right.
And now it seems to me that there are those on the city council who are black folks who don't really interface with the clergy like they used to.
Oh no.
On issues.
Yeah, well, I think that comes within the orientation once you're elected. That the orientation class probably suggests to them that you stay away from the clergy, and if you do deal with the clergies, here's the certain ones you deal with. You know, because they don't want you to deal with anybody that's going to talk unfavorably about proposals and things that they're trying to do. They have certain ones that they'll, after the orientation class of becoming a counselor, they'll tell you which direction to go in.
In the 1970s, they had a Black Agenda convention in Gary, Indiana.
Right, I remember that. Reading about it.
Well, I read, and I was reading the thing, and it said, favor-seeking vassals. And that challenged me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, as a pastor or a minister, a favor-seeking vassal. And and there's something happening, and we don't speak or continue to speak truth to power. And I think in a lot of cases, we grow.
Yeah.
We grow. We should anyway.
Yeah, we should. We should.
And I think too often we're seeing a lot of our clergy and our colleagues being sucked up in the vacuum, as it were, for favors.
Yeah, right. And that's part of the process, and that's why, which strengthens the unity of the brethren, which not strengthens, but it weakens the unity of the brethren, which is all done by design. You know, so if I can help you with a program at Fervent Prayer as a politician, when I need you, I call and tell you that I don't need you to go in this direction. Would you not go in this particular direction on this particular issue? And that's how that works.
Yeah.
But you got to be conscious of the fact that we are called to serve people, and we have to speak truth to power.
Well, let that be the last word.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us on Real People, Real Voices. We'll see you next time.